So, hi everybody and welcome to our Messy at Home for Shrove Tuesday. I'm really excited. We're doing something a little bit different today. Bob and I are having a pancake making contest. We've got some judges, so we're gonna find out who is gonna have the best pancakes. It's probably gonna be me. Then we're gonna do a craft and we're gonna talk about some activities that we can do out in the community. Separate but together. So let's get started. All right, so I'm gonna get started making my pancakes for this pancake competition that Bob and I are doing. I did a little bit to get ready to start with. So I already mixed together my flour and baking powder and salt and sugar in this bowl. And now it's time to add our wet ingredients. So I've got an egg, which I'm gonna crack, and I always crack my egg on a flat counter. And then I break it into a bowl to check and make sure I don't have any pieces of shell. So I need to add my egg, and I gotta mix it up really well before I add it in. I think this is good. So I'm gonna add my egg to my pancakes. And then I have to add some oil and some milk. So, got my measuring cup here, and I'm gonna measure my oil. So there's my oil that I needed to add. And then some milk. Measure my milk. And just like before, when you're measuring something in a liquid measuring cup, you gotta get down right to the same level. There we go. Add that. And now we'll mix it all up. So you want to mix it until it's mostly smooth, but it's okay if there's a couple of little lumps. So mine is a little bit lumpy, but I think it's ready to head over to the stove and start cooking.
So now it's my turn to share with you our family recipe, which I'm pretty sure everyone's going to like best. That's my opinion. So we're going to start off by putting all of the dry ingredients together, and then we'll add the wet, and then we'll mix it all up, and we'll join Susie over at the stove, and we'll cook it all up. Before we introduce our third mystery chef, who's also going to join us as part of the competition. So, first thing you need is 2 cups of flour. I'm doubling the recipe just because I've been told folks want to make sure they have extra pancakes to take home. So normally it would be 1 cup, but 2 cups. So this measures 1. So there's 1 and 2. So that's it for flour. Now we need 2 tablespoons of sugar. So take my tablespoon, take my sugar. There's 1 and 2. And that does it for the sugar. Then we need, so if you're only doing 1 batch because you don't want a whole lot of pancakes, you just need 3 teaspoons of baking powder. But if you're doubling it, you're going to need 6. So I'm going to put in 6 teaspoons of baking powder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that does your baking powder. And then it says a half a teaspoon of salt if you're doing just a single. If you're doing a double, then you need 1 full teaspoon of salt. So I've got some salt here. There we go. And that's all of the dry ingredients. So take your trusty whisk and whisk that all together. Just want to make sure it's combined pretty well. You don't need to do it too much. So next is a couple of eggs. So if you're doing just one batch, you just need one egg. If you're doubling it, obviously you need twice as many eggs, so you need two. So there's one. Now you need 3/4 of a cup of milk. If you're doubling it, it's 1.5 cups. So I'm going to get my 1/2 cup measure, which is this one, and my 1 cup measure, which I'd already used, which is that one. I'm going to add the milk in a second. We need 2 tablespoons of oil, but we're doubling it, so 4 tablespoons. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now in our house, we like to add a little vanilla to our pancakes. It's kind of our secret ingredient. So we're going to add somewhere between 1/2 and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. If you really like vanilla, you can add a little more. If you don't like vanilla, you don't have to add any. All right, so now I've got my milk, and we're going to add 1 for sure, and probably most of 1/2. It all depends on how thick you want your pancake mix to be. So we're going to measure up 1.5. We're going to pour in about 1/4 of that to get us started. And then you just whisk it all together, making sure you get rid of as many lumps as you can. Making sure you get all the flour, get everything going. Well, that batter's pretty thick, so I'm going to add in a little more milk. See how that goes. Almost done. Still pretty thick, so I'm going to add in the rest of the milk that I have.
And mix this all up.
You don't want to make it too thick, but you need to make sure it's thick enough. All right, that's still a little bit thick, so I'm going to add about another 1/4 cup. There's really no exact science to this one. It's really about you finding out how you like your pancakes, or how thick you like the batter to start off. So I think that looks pretty good. Now we're not too thick, but it's not like soup either. You want to make sure it's batter. And you want to make sure you get all the lumps out of it. So there you go. That's what your batter should look like. I'm going to clean this up a little bit, and then I'm going to join Susie over at the stove and start cooking up some of these pancakes to serve to our judges. So there you go. You see Susie's getting the pan ready for another batch of pancakes. You got to be careful that your pan isn't too hot, because you'll just burn the oil or burn the butter, and you'll just burn your pancakes, and then you just won't be very happy, and that'll be a bad start to your day, or a bad end to your day. So here we go. So it's really simple. You take a ladle, get a scoop of mix, add them to the pan, and away you go.
Now you have to be patient and wait for the pancakes to cook. And the way you can tell is when you're cooking pancakes, you start to see little bubbles pop up through the dough, and they pop and they collapse back in. And you know your pancakes are ready to flip when the bubbles pop and they stay open and you see all of these little open bubbles on the top of your pancakes. And that's your pancakes telling you that they're ready to be flipped over and have their other side cooked.
All right, so I'm back to do a different batch of pancake mix. So I know you might have been expecting a third surprise, chef. The surprise is this. So this is the first one we're going to try, and then we have a second one. These are the non-from-scratch chefs. So this one needs a cup of mix, 3/4 of a cup of milk, 1 egg, and a tablespoon of melted butter, but we're going to use oil instead. Okay, so here we go. 1 cup of pancake mix. Apparently, the hardest part of mixing up these pancakes is getting the mix out of the box. Okay, that's pretty much a cup. Okay, so 3/4 of a cup of milk, which is this one. We're using soy milk, but you could use any kind of milk you want, as long as you're not allergic to it. Which means Susie can't eat my pancakes. So there we go. 3/4 cup of milk. Or soy milk, 1 egg, and then 1 tablespoon of okay. So those are the directions for this one. Cup of batter, 3/4 of a cup of milk. Guess you could use water if you wanted to. 1 egg, 1 tablespoon of melted butter or oil, which we used. We will add these on the grill in just a second once we're done cooking some other ones. And then I'll be back to show you a fourth option, part of this not from scratch batch. See you in a minute. So I'm back. If you've ever shopped at Costco, you've probably seen one of these. So this is our other half of our third mystery judge. So this one is really simple. For 6 to 7 pancakes, it is 1 cup of mix, 2/3 of a cup of water, and that's it. Mix it all together, cook it up. So we're gonna get a level-ish one. And water. Here we go.
There you go.
Thank you very much. Okay, so here we go.
We're just gonna whip these up. Make them nice and smooth. I'd say the color is exciting, but if this is what you got and this is what you can do, then it'll work.
Alrighty, so this is the next batch. This will be the other half of our not from scratch mystery chef. And we'll get to see if our judges can actually tell the difference when they're eating them. One tip before we get to our judges. I find, and I learned this in a film and tried it, there's a secret to eating pancakes. Put some syrup on your plate first, lay the pancake on the syrup, and then some more on top with butter if you're able to do that, if you're not allergic to dairy. Having a little bit on the bottom with some on top makes it taste extra good. We're gonna cook these up over on the stove, and then we'll serve our judges and see what they have to say. Be right back. Alrighty, so now it's my turn to cook. Pan is ready. I like to cook with real butter for pancakes, but that's because I'm okay with butter and dairy. So there you go. The pan is good and hot. Butter is ready. Here comes the batter. Now, if you like really fancy pancakes, sometimes we put the batter in a funnel that you use for doing icing, an icing bag with just a clear tip on it, and we make animals in the pan, we make letters in the pan. Some folks like to add stuff to their pancakes. I'm kind of a pancake purist, so we're not adding anything to these. No chocolate chips, no shredded apple, no berries, nothing like that. Just pure pancake. But if you want to fancy it up a bit sometime, especially if you're making it for someone special in your life and you want to kind of add some extra zip to it, by all means, now would be the time to sprinkle a few chocolate chips, maybe a little bit of blueberry, some shredded chocolate, especially dark chocolate, would be a good way to go. Some shredded apple in there, all kinds of things. You can pretty much do anything you want with a pancake. Like Susie said, want to watch for the bubbles, and once the bubbles start to burst and collapse back in, then that's a pretty good sign that your pancake is cooked on the other side. And you just need to flip it, watch it rise up again. Before you know it, your pancakes are ready to go, and you're ready to eat. So, we're going to cook up some of these, and then we'll be back with our guest judges.
All right, so as you can see, Bob and I and our two mystery chefs have cooked up all of the pancakes, and we've got our lovely judging panel, and now we are going to see what everyone thinks of these pancakes. We're going to start with pancake number 1.
Alright. So now that you've all had your 4 types, what we're going to do is kind of invite you to think about which one was your favorite, and then we'll kind of come to you and get you to rank them in the order of your preference. So which one was, you can do it whichever way you want. You can say number 1 was, and then, second, third, and fourth place, or you can say fourth, third, first, second, however it is you want to do it. And then we'll get your impression, and then we'll let you in on which chefs cooked which. So this is our first mystery judge, our honored judge. Pam is a member of the choir, and she's a member of our board. So Pam, which one was your favorite?
I think number 4, the last one.
The last one. Mm-hmm. Alrighty. How would you? What about the other ones? Which one would you put in second place?
Actually, the order in which they came. Number 3.
Okay. And then 2, and then 1. Alrighty. So Pam just started at the back and worked her way to the front. So the last one she received was the best one, and the first one she received was her least favorite. Alrighty, thank you, Pam. We need to go to our next judge. All right, so our next guest judge is Les Waldy. Les has done all kinds of stuff around our church and around our community. So it's great to have him here with us this evening. So Les, favorite one?
Number 1.
The first one was the favorite. And how would you rank the rest of them?
Number 4, number 3, and number 2 in that order.
So 1, 4, 3, 2.
That's correct.
Awesome. Thank you very much. We've got 2 more judges to go.
They're all good.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed them. Yeah.
He's just being really nice. So here are our last 2 guest judges. We have Jenna and Sharon. So Jenna, which was your favorite?
Number 2.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And Sharon, how about for you?
Okay, number 4 was my second choice.
Yep.
Number 3 was my first choice.
Yep.
Number 2 was my third choice.
Yep.
And number 1 was my fourth choice.
3, 4, 2, 1. Alrighty. Now we will let you know who cooked which. Just 1 second.
So now it's time to reveal who is responsible for these pancakes. So pancake number 1 Favorite of Les, Waldy, excellent choice. This is my pancake. Pancake number 3. 3 was whose favorite? Someone had these ones. Excellent. These are Reverend Bob's family recipe. Now, pancake number 2 from, this is Mr. No Name Pancake Mix.
Is who, sorry?
Mr. No Name.
Mr. No Name.
The bright yellow box of pancake mix.
At the grocery store?
Okay.
Yeah. And then number 4 was a big bag from Costco whose name I don't remember.
The Costco brand.
Yeah.
So we had two samples made from scratch and 2 that were from
Yeah.
boxes.
So our mystery chefs were actually a box and a bag.
Interesting. Okay.
But we thought we'd throw them into the mix and see what happened.
Thank
So,
goodness.
Susie, do you know what I learned about the people at Trinity United Church?
I learned that Les has great taste. Best taste.
Other than that,
I don't know what you learned.
technically I got 2 more votes, but you know, we won't split hairs. What I learned is we like everything, which is pretty much true for the congregation. We don't have a favorite pancake, we just like pancakes. So that's true for here. All right, folks, we're going to leave you on that note. Our judges are going to get some more pancakes, and we're going to go set up to do some other things.
All right, so now we're gonna do a craft together. And if you look in your Lent kit, there are a bunch of different activities, and the one that I'm gonna show you is making a sun catcher. And if you look, there's lots of different ways you can make a sun catcher. You can use wax paper and markers, or you can grate wax crayons and melt them with an iron, which sounds like a lot of fun. What I'm doing is I'm making a sun catcher with glue and tissue paper. So what I've done is I've mixed some white glue with some water, so it's runnier than glue, but it's not super runny. And then I've got, you can use tin foil or wax paper. You just need something that you can make your sun catcher on, that it will peel off of when it's dry, because in the end we're gonna peel it off once it's all dry. And then I've got tissue paper that I'm gonna rip up. So to make a sun catcher this way, all you do is you start by painting glue on, and then you rip up your tissue paper and just squish it into the glue. Now if you want, you can make a picture, you can put just patterns everywhere, you could rip up lots of pieces and put the shapes down and then see if you decide afterwards that maybe it looks like a picture. But the important thing is to make sure that the tissue paper is completely wet with the glue, and you want it kind of layered over. So here, I'll show you what mine looks like now. I'm gonna make a flower on some grass. So if you see here, I've got my grass and the tissue paper is all layered over each other, and I'm gonna put glue on top of that to help it stick all together. This is fun because you get to be pretty messy with your glue. You can just slop it on whichever way you want. And you can use really big pieces of tissue paper or small pieces of tissue paper. The important thing is that you make a bit of a mess and that you have some fun. If you're making this kind of sun catcher, you have to let it dry for a while after it's done, because the glue has to dry completely, and it's pretty thick and gloppy to start with. But once it's dried, you can actually peel it off of whatever you've made it on, peel it off of the wax paper or the tin foil like I have, and hang it up in the window. So I'm just gonna stick a couple more pieces down and then show you my piece of art. So here we go. I think I'll probably add some more to it, but I think this is a really good start on my sun catcher. I've got some grass on the ground and some blue sky, and I made this flower that I think looks a little bit like a rose. So I've decided that this is a rose. So now I'm going to be patient. I'm going to leave it completely flat and leave it alone for at least a day, but maybe 2, and then you can peel it off the paper and hang it up in your window. So I have one last activity for us to do together, and it's a photo scavenger hunt. Now, right now it's really cold outside. I don't know how cold it's going to be when you see this video, but this is a photo scavenger hunt you can do outside, you can do inside your home. If you really wanted, you could even do it by looking things up on the internet and finding pictures there. And what you're going to do is you're going to go for a walk or explore your house, and there's a list of things that you're supposed to look for. But what I'd like you to do when you go out with your family is let everyone pick something for all the categories. So if you're looking for something that makes you smile, you don't all have to agree. You can each find something that makes you smile and take a picture. I know that it's really lonely right now. A lot of us haven't seen our friends in a long time. So other things you could do is maybe if you live close to a friend, you could pick the same path to walk, not at the same time, and compare pictures afterwards and see how they saw that walk versus how you saw that walk. And what we would love is if you send those pictures in to my email, which is messy@trinitypg.ca, and then we can make a photo collage of all of the amazing pictures that we're going to take together.